Hidden deep within the rugged mountains of El Salvador, far from the eyes of the public, stands a fortress unlike anything the world has ever seen. This massive structure, known as CECOT, is carved meticulously into a remote valley, surrounded by steep hills and natural barriers that make access nearly impossible. Miles from the nearest town, the prison is encircled by walls so imposing they seem to dissolve into the clouds, reinforced with razor-sharp security measures at every level. Inside, the facility is a highly controlled environment where every corridor, gate, and checkpoint has been designed to eliminate the slightest chance of escape. This is not just a prison. It is a monumental engineering achievement built with one single purpose: to contain some of the most dangerous and high-risk inmates in the country, ensuring that the possibility of escape is virtually non-existent and that order is maintained at every moment. Before we begin, tap like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us uncover the darkest corners of the prison system. Now let's step inside. For decades, El Salvador has struggled with a level of gang violence that has shaped almost every aspect of life in the country. Neighborhoods were controlled by rival groups, and citizens often lived in fear, unable to go about their daily routines safely. These gangs, most notably MS-13 and Barrio 18, had extensive networks that extended across cities, rural areas, and even international borders. Their influence was so pervasive that local authorities often struggled to maintain order, and ordinary citizens were caught in the crossfire of gang-related violence. Faced with rising crime rates, a government committed to restoring law and order recognized the urgent need for a facility capable of handling the most dangerous and high-profile criminals in the country. It wasn't just about locking them away. It was about creating a system that could ensure the safety of citizens, prison staff, and even the broader national security infrastructure. The solution came in the form of CECOT, officially known as the Terrorism Confinement Center. CECOT was envisioned as more than just a traditional prison. Its design reflects a philosophy of total control. Every wall, corridor, and building was planned to prevent coordination among inmates, limit opportunities for violence, and eliminate any chance of escape. This was not a facility intended for rehabilitation or social reintegration. Its purpose was security, surveillance, and containment at the highest possible level. The scale of the problem in El Salvador demanded a solution of unprecedented magnitude. In the early 2020s, the government initiated a crackdown on gang activity that resulted in tens of thousands of arrests. Individuals once considered untouchable were suddenly facing a highly controlled prison environment where their freedom to move, communicate, or influence the outside world was completely removed. CECOT was built to house these high-risk inmates, providing a central hub for the management of gang members and other dangerous criminals. The prison is capable of holding thousands of inmates, each under constant supervision. Its design divides the population into modules, each carefully monitored and structured to prevent overcrowding from turning into chaos. Every module is effectively a self-contained unit, designed to keep inmates separated, to control interactions, and to allow prison staff to respond quickly to any disturbance. Beyond the physical structure, CECOT reflects a broader strategy of law enforcement in El Salvador, one that emphasizes strict control over the country's most violent elements. By creating a prison with near-impenetrable security, the government aimed to send a clear message. Criminal activity would no longer go unchecked, and those who previously terrorized communities would face a level of containment and oversight that makes escape virtually impossible. But CECOT also represents a difficult balance. While the prison has dramatically reduced gang influence on the streets, it raises questions about human rights, long-term rehabilitation, and the ethical limits of extreme incarceration. The facility's strict isolation policies, limited contact with the outside world, and constant surveillance are intended to maintain order, but they also create a stark and often harsh environment for inmates. In designing a prison that prioritizes security above all else, El Salvador has created a model of extreme containment, one that is being watched and analyzed by security experts around the world. In essence, CECOT was built because the scale of violence and criminal organization in El Salvador demanded it. No ordinary prison could hold the individuals who had exerted control over entire neighborhoods and terrorized citizens for decades. Every feature of the facility, from its location to its architecture, from its surveillance systems to its internal management policies, was carefully planned to create a prison that could manage extreme risk while preventing any form of escape or external influence. In this sense, CECOT stands not only as a physical fortress, but as a symbol of a nation's determination to confront organized crime head-on, no matter how complex or dangerous the challenge. CECOT is not just defined by its walls and security systems. Its location plays a critical role in its ability to contain the country's most dangerous criminals. Placed deep in a remote valley, far from the nearest towns and cities, the prison leverages natural geography as a first line of defense. Steep hills rise on all sides. Rugged terrain makes access difficult, and the surrounding landscape acts as an additional barrier against intrusion or escape attempts. The choice of this location was strategic. By isolating the facility from population centers, the government ensured that the presence of thousands of high-risk inmates would not threaten the daily lives of ordinary Salvadorans. There is no nearby infrastructure, no commercial development, and very few roads leading into the valley. This isolation means that any attempt to approach the prison unnoticed would be nearly impossible, and any escape attempt would immediately become visible to surveillance teams stationed on the hills and towers surrounding the prison. In addition to natural barriers, the facility's distance from urban areas minimizes outside interference. Communication lines are tightly controlled, and electromagnetic jammers prevent unauthorized signals from reaching the prison. The valley itself becomes part of the security system. Anyone trying to cross the open field would immediately be spotted, while the mountainous terrain ensures that even aerial or vehicular escape is highly improbable. The isolation also serves operational purposes. By locating the prison far from civilian traffic, authorities can manage large-scale prisoner transfers safely, deploy armed teams efficiently, and coordinate surveillance without endangering the public. Emergency responses, supply deliveries, and routine operations are all conducted within a controlled, low-risk environment. This level of planning ensures that the facility can maintain strict control over its population 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Moreover, the location reinforces the psychological environment inside the prison. Inmates are acutely aware that the outside world is distant and largely inaccessible. The remoteness amplifies the sense of containment and reduces the possibility of outside coordination with gang networks. For those who once wielded power on the streets, this environment is a stark reminder that their influence ends at the prison walls. The Salvadoran government also considered the long-term sustainability of the facility when selecting the site. The valley was chosen for its ability to accommodate a self-contained infrastructure, including water supply, electricity, sewage management, and emergency systems. In the event of external disruptions, such as power outages or natural disasters, the prison can operate independently for extended periods, further securing the environment against both internal and external threats. In summary, CECOT's location is as much a part of its security design as its walls, cameras, and surveillance technology. The remote valley ensures that the prison remains isolated from urban centers, difficult to access, and highly visible to authorities. It turns the natural terrain into a defensive system, enhancing both physical and psychological control over the inmates. This carefully chosen site, combined with its architectural and technological features, makes CECOT not just a prison, but a fortress, a place where the combination of geography and design makes escape or external interference almost impossible. By building the prison here, El Salvador has created a facility that relies on more than walls and gates. It is a strategic use of terrain and distance to reinforce security. Every step an inmate would take outside the prison would be met with a near-immediate response, and the surrounding environment itself becomes a mechanism of containment. In this way, the location of CECOT transforms it from a conventional prison into a modern, nearly impenetrable stronghold, a physical manifestation of control, order, and national security. CECOT is not just another prison. It is a fortress meticulously designed to eliminate any possibility of escape, rebellion, or outside influence. Every aspect of its construction reflects a philosophy of total control. From the towering walls to the internal modules, CECOT was engineered with precision, combining advanced security technologies with structural innovations that make it one of the world's most secure facilities. The prison is composed of 8 massive modules spread across hundreds of acres, each module functioning as a self-contained unit. Every pair of modules is enclosed by 2 separate walls, each 3 meters high and topped with razor wire. Surrounding the entire facility is a 9-meter-high outer wall, reinforced with an electrified fence carrying 15,000 volts. Watchtowers rise at strategic intervals, giving guards a complete line of sight over the perimeter. This design ensures that every corner of the prison is monitored, leaving no blind spots where inmates could gather or plot. Inside the prison, the architecture is equally deliberate. Each module houses dozens of cells, and each cell is designed to hold multiple inmates under extremely controlled conditions. The interior layout minimizes movement and interaction, preventing inmates from forming alliances or staging riots. Narrow corridors, reinforced gates, and carefully planned observation points allow guards to control the population efficiently while maintaining maximum safety. CECOT's infrastructure is also self-sufficient. The prison has its own electrical and water supply, sewage management, and emergency power systems. This means that in the event of a blackout or external disruption, the facility can continue to operate without relying on outside resources for days. The prison was built to function independently, ensuring that inmates remain isolated and the security of the facility is never compromised. The combination of natural terrain and architectural design makes the prison almost impossible to penetrate. The steep valley surrounding the facility, paired with layered walls, security fences, and strategically placed watchtowers, turns the entire location into a defensive system. Every aspect of the architecture serves a dual purpose: to prevent escape and to exert psychological control over the inmates. Those confined within the prison are constantly aware of the surveillance, the barriers, and the sheer impossibility of leaving. Technology amplifies the fortress-like design. Surveillance cameras cover every hallway, cell block, and common area, feeding a continuous stream of information to the control room. Advanced scanning systems ensure that no contraband enters the facility, while alarms and sensors detect even the slightest disturbance. The architecture is seamlessly integrated with these systems, creating an environment where both physical and technological barriers work together to maintain order. Even the smallest details are considered. Floors, walls, and furnishings are built to be tamper-proof. Inmates have no access to materials that could be weaponized, and every potential security risk is addressed in the design phase. From reinforced doors to metal bunk beds and secure toilet facilities, the prison is built to withstand both human ingenuity and sheer force. In essence, CECOT's architecture transforms it from a conventional correctional facility into a modern stronghold. Every wall, gate, corridor, and observation point has been designed to create a sense of absolute containment. It is not just a place to house criminals. It is a carefully orchestrated environment where control is constant and the possibility of escape is almost non-existent. This combination of natural geography, structural engineering, and advanced technology makes CECOT one of the most secure and impenetrable prisons in the world. A fortress built not only to detain, but to dominate, both physically and psychologically, over those inside. Behind the imposing walls of CECOT, life for the inmates is a stark reminder of control, order, and containment. Those who enter these modules are removed entirely from the outside world, and the daily existence inside is strictly regimented, a far cry from the chaos they once commanded on the streets. Each cell is a microcosm of control, housing anywhere from 80 to 150 inmates. The space allocated per prisoner is minimal, barely half a square meter of personal space. There are no courtyards no open-air spaces, and no areas for leisure. Instead, prisoners live, sleep, eat, and conduct their hygiene in one confined area. Metal bunk beds are stacked in 4 levels, providing only the bare essentials: a uniform, a white sheet, socks, slippers, and a towel. There are no pillows, no mattresses, no comfort. Hygiene is managed with strict efficiency. Toilets are placed within the cell, often next to shower areas, and water is provided from shared barrels. Inmates must follow precise routines to maintain cleanliness, and personal belongings are restricted to eliminate any potential security risk. Long hair and beards are not allowed. Every inmate is shaved and monitored to prevent contraband or weapons from being concealed. The psychological environment is as controlled as the physical. Lights remain on day and night to facilitate constant surveillance, and inmates are acutely aware that every action is being monitored. Observation catwalks, security cameras, and armed guards ensure that no movement goes unnoticed. Even attempts to communicate covertly are met with immediate intervention, reinforcing the reality that the prison is not just a containment facility, but a space where freedom is systematically stripped away. Despite the oppressive conditions, inmates are occasionally allowed limited activities. For example, physical exercise or religious instruction may occur for a short, scheduled period, often under strict supervision and rotation. These moments, though brief, are designed to maintain basic health and morale, without compromising the overarching goal of security. The prisoners themselves carry the weight of their past actions. Many are high-profile gang members, responsible for hundreds of lives lost, and they live under constant isolation from the outside world. Family visits are strictly forbidden, and for some inmates, decades may pass without seeing a loved one. This absence of contact reinforces the sense of finality and containment, a clear message that those who cause terror on the streets are now under absolute control. The visual landscape inside CECOT is marked by uniformity and discipline. Most inmates wear white shirts, shorts, and slippers, with tattoos covering their bodies and faces, permanent markers of past affiliations and violent histories. These tattoos, whether depicting gang symbols, numbers, or dark imagery, serve as both identity and warning, even within the confined walls of the prison. Nutrition and daily routines are strictly managed. Meals are simple and repetitive, providing basic sustenance without luxury. Inmates eat with their hands, clean their plates, and return them for inspection, emphasizing order and minimizing risk. Every activity, from eating to movement within the cell, is supervised to maintain control and prevent disturbances. Isolation cells add another layer of psychological pressure. Those who violate rules or pose a threat to order may be placed in small, windowless cells for days or even weeks. Light is minimal, contact with others is non-existent, and the inmate is left alone with their thoughts, a tool designed to break the influence of high-risk individuals and reinforce the power of the prison system. In this environment, the life of an inmate is a constant negotiation between survival and control. The world outside is distant, almost unimaginable, and the routines inside are designed to remind every prisoner that their previous life of power has ended. At CECOT, freedom has been replaced with structure, chaos has been replaced with control, and the most dangerous individuals in El Salvador are contained in a system designed to outmatch even the most cunning criminal minds. In essence, life inside the cells of CECOT is a relentless exercise in order, surveillance, and containment. Every day is structured, every movement is observed, and every individual is reminded that in this fortress, escape, whether physical or psychological, is almost impossible. It is not a place for rehabilitation. It is a place where control is absolute, and the consequences of past actions are inescapably felt. CECOT is often described as a fortress, but the term only begins to capture the complexity of its security systems. Every inch of this facility is designed to prevent escape, rebellion, or outside interference. Here, control is not just enforced by walls and guards. It is embedded into the very architecture, technology, and daily routines of the prison. The prison's security begins before anyone even enters the gates. Visitors and new inmates undergo rigorous screenings that include high-capacity X-ray scanners capable of detecting objects hidden inside the body, clothing, or belongings. Even seemingly innocuous items, such as microchips, memory cards, or phone chargers, are strictly prohibited. Guards conduct multiple inspections to ensure that nothing enters the prison that could compromise safety or security. Once inside, layers of surveillance and monitoring maintain order around the clock. Armed guards patrol both inside and outside the modules, while watchtowers and elevated catwalks provide a full line of sight across the prison. Surveillance cameras track every corridor, cell block, and common area, ensuring that no movement goes unnoticed. Even minor disturbances trigger immediate intervention, highlighting the precision and vigilance of the security network. Technology complements human oversight. Electromagnetic jammers block unauthorized communications within a 2-kilometer radius, preventing inmates from sending messages or coordinating with criminal networks outside. Alarms, motion sensors, and sound detecting systems enhance the prison's ability to respond instantly to any unusual activity. The integration of physical architecture and technology creates a seamless web of control that makes escape attempts nearly impossible. Physical restraint is another key element of CECOT's security. Inmates are carefully managed during movement within the prison, using handcuffs, chains, and other restriction devices to minimize risk to staff and other inmates. Even when transferred between modules, strict protocols ensure that no inmate can act without immediate oversight. The prison's defensive measures extend to the prevention of riots or violence inside. The design of the cells, corridors, and communal areas limits opportunities for inmates to organize, while armored riot gear and tactical units are prepared to respond to any threat. This level of preparedness ensures that even high-ranking gang leaders, who once controlled streets and neighborhoods, are rendered powerless within the facility. Psychological control is just as crucial as physical security. Inmates are constantly aware that they are being watched and that every action has consequences. Isolation cells reinforce discipline, removing privileges or contact for those who violate rules. The combination of surveillance, structure, and restricted freedom creates an environment where compliance is necessary for survival. CECOT staff play a vital role in maintaining this control. Hundreds of officers are trained to handle high-risk inmates, many of whom have extensive criminal histories and violent tendencies. Guards wear masks to protect their identities, ensuring that gang members cannot target them outside the prison. Each officer operates as part of a coordinated system, where vigilance and adherence to protocol are critical to the safety of both staff and inmates. Even routine activities are designed with security in mind. Meals, exercise periods, and religious instruction are scheduled and supervised, with inmates moving in small, rotating groups to prevent overcrowding or chaos. This meticulous planning ensures that the prison functions smoothly, while the risk of violence or disorder is minimized. In essence, CECOT operates as a fortress not only in structure, but in operation. Its layered security, combining physical architecture, advanced technology, strict routines, and highly trained personnel, creates a system that is nearly impossible to breach. Every design decision, every procedure, and every surveillance measure reinforces the message. Inside CECOT, order is absolute, control is constant, and escape is unimaginable. This is a prison built to contain the most dangerous individuals in El Salvador, a facility where high-risk inmates are managed with precision and where the balance of power lies entirely with the authorities. In this environment, chaos is replaced by structure, threats are neutralized, and the world's most formidable criminals learn that even the most cunning minds are no match for CECOT's relentless control. As the sun sets over the mountains of El Salvador, CECOT stands silent yet unyielding, a fortress of steel, concrete, and control. Within these walls, the most dangerous individuals in the country live out their days in confinement, stripped of freedom, comfort, and connection to the world outside. CECOT is more than a prison. It is a statement. A message to those who once terrorized communities that the consequences of violence are absolute. It is a place where order reigns supreme, where the architecture itself enforces discipline, and where the balance of power lies entirely with the authorities. But beyond the walls, questions remain. Can such extreme measures truly transform lives? Is this a permanent solution to El Salvador's history of gang violence, or a temporary containment of chaos? Only time will tell. What is undeniable, however, is the sheer scale and precision of CECOT. Every detail, from towering walls to isolation cells, from round-the-clock surveillance to strict routines, has been designed to ensure that no inmate leaves this prison unchallenged. As we step away from these walls and return to the world beyond, we are reminded of the stark reality. In CECOT, freedom is no longer a right, and every action carries consequence. It is a place where control is absolute, and where the echoes of the past meet the unyielding order of the present. If you found this journey inside the world's hardest-to-escape prison compelling, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the most secure prisons and the stories of those who live behind their walls. Hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and join us as we continue exploring the realities of justice, control, and human endurance.